New at noon, the York State Fair is all wrapped up. The final attendance figures were just released, and they are not good. Seth Kaplan live in York with more on those numbers. Good afternoon, Seth.
Hey, James, yeah, not good at all. We are here the day after the fair, and in this regard, it looks exactly like you would expect any day after a fair. Folks tearing it down, getting ready to move these rides on to the next place. And taking a look, though, at those numbers, let me show you. We went back a few years here. You see 2019, the last time that the fair was in September, just under 530,000 people. Of course, there was no fair in 2020. That was going to be the first July fair, ended up being July 2021, and attendance actually was up just a tad, less than 1%, up to 532,000. But there you see the figure for this year, now down in the threes. That is a 34% drop compared to last year's fairs, with dates similar. Back out live, the fair, in a press release this morning, blamed it on, first of all, the cancellation of not one but two concerts. Steve Miller Band last minute, because Steve Miller had COVID. That was supposed to be Saturday night, and then Toby Keith, because of cancer, had canceled earlier. That was in June that cancellation happened. Also, the weather, there was that extreme heat the first week of the fair, and then there was rain, I should say, rather, several other days. Joined now, though, by Montgomery Stambaugh, fair spokesperson. Montgomery, thanks as always for being with us. I mean, look, no sugarcoating it. You can't be happy with these numbers that you released this morning.
Unfortunately, our numbers were down this year, but certain things were out of our control with the weather and the concert cancellations.
Okay. The July date, got to ask you again. Now, we saw last year it was actually roughly flat to up slightly compared to the previous fair, which had been in September. We hoped, maybe, I guess those of us who were hoping to see more people, that, hey, maybe that was just the beginning of an upswing. Instead, it just seems, who knows, maybe people are just excited to get back out last year, the novelty. This year down a lot. Any thought about that July schedule again?
With it being in July, on our end for our exhibitors and our concerts, it's a lot better. We had numbers up in our livestock, our old main entries, as well as our horticultural hall entries. And for concerts, we were able to get a bigger lineup with it being in July. Unfortunately, we can't control the weather, and I think that hindered a little bit. And with Toby Keith, unfortunately, having cancer, and Steve Miller, unfortunately, having COVID, those are two things that did hinder, because those were our two biggest concerts besides Jason Aldean.
Yeah. I got to ask you, hey, July is July. There's always that risk that we have. Do you go back now and just sort of say, okay, what can we do going forward to next year to whatever it takes, whether it's the schedule or whether it's something else, to sort of stop the slide that we've seen here from last year to this year?
Next year we will be staying in July again. It's July 21st to the 30th. So with that, we hope just to have some better weather and just a different outcome next year.
Yeah. Montgomery, thanks so much for this and for all the great information you gave us over the past bunch of days. We know you still got some work to do, but hopefully you and all your colleagues here will get to finally at least take a deep breath and start playing next year. Okay, thanks again, Montgomery Stambaugh, spokesperson for New York State Fair. We went back a decade, by the way, James, to look at attendance figures, the longer-term trend, and we'll have that coming up for you beginning tonight at 5. Right now, live at the York State Fair. Seth Kaplan, ABC 27 News.
Yes, I'm going to be interested to see what those numbers look like, because that 300,000 figure, I mean, it looks a lot lower than the ones that you just showed from just a couple of years ago. So we'll be very interested to see how far back this goes and just how low of an attendance this actually is compared to many, many years ago, Seth.
Yeah, exactly, James, because that's the question. I mean, look, there's a reason they switched to July, right? I mean, it wasn't because everything was perfect, and so that was part of it. They felt that in particular shows that come through here, their concert routings, the explanation was that they could just get better concerts. The Jason Aldean concert, for example, last night, these aren't folks who come from across the country just to be in York. They come from other fairs where this is along the way, and they felt that was one benefit. But yeah, that number is, as you might guess, sneak peek of what we'll see later, the lowest one we've seen.